Hi guys, bonjour, hola, my name is Trish. It's almost Christmas. 4 more days.
Elves don't rest when the nighttime comes.
I hope you have your gifts and you are getting ready. So in today's tutorial, I'm just going to recreate a sample flyer that was sent to me on Instagram as a request. Let's jump right into this tutorial. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to go to our folder and we want to drag in this image. I'm going to set it right up and I'm just going to scale it to fill up the top portion of my canvas. I'm going to go to my folder and I'm going to drag in this subject and I'm just going to scale it down. Now, when you bring in your subject and your transform is not activated, you want to make sure that you have auto check and show transform on. So I'm going to go ahead and scale this down and I'm going to set her somewhere here, and then I'm going to go ahead, go back to my folder, and I'm going to drag this lady and I'm going to scale her down like so. I'm going to set her right there and I'm going to go back and also drag this subject in and I'm just going to scale her down and set her right there. So we have all of these three images. Now we want to take off the background. The easiest way to take off the background is you want to click on your subject, go under your property, scroll down, and then click on convert to layers. You want to say yes, and then you want to go back again into your property. Under quick action, you want to click on remove background. And once you do that, Photoshop takes the background off for you. Now, if you have an older version of Photoshop, you will have to go back to one of my old tutorials on how to take off the background. So once we have this, I'm going to set it right here. We're going to take off the background for the subject. I'm going to go to my property. Under our property, we want to scroll down and you always want to make sure that that layer that you want to take off the background is the one that is selected. Now in your property, you don't have the option to remove background. If you don't see remove background, you need to first of all convert your image into a layer so you can then begin to take off the background. So we're just going to click on yes to apply the smart object layer. And now when you go back to your property and the quick action, you will see remove background. Now you want to click on that and it will remove the background for you. We want to do the same thing for this subject as well. So with that layer selected, go to your property, convert to layer, say yes. Now you want to scroll down and remove background. So now that we have our background removed, we want to set our subject somewhere here. And I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to move this out of the way. And with my eraser, I'm going to click on my cap locks to turn it off. So whenever you want to use your eraser and you don't see your eraser head, it means that your cap locks is on. So you want to turn that off. Now my cap locks is too big, so I'm going to use my left and right bracket to make it either small or big. And now I want to erase. Now when you go to erase, you want to go up to your brushes. You want to make sure your hardness is at 0 and not at 100. So take note of that. If you keep it at 100, if I try to erase, you see that it does basically a big chunk, and that's not what you want. You want it to have a smooth and a gradient effect. So I'm going to press Command Z to go back, and we're going to click on the middle subject, go back to my brush settings, and I'm going to move this all the way to 0 hardness. Now when I begin to brush, you see that it does a very nice job to blend in the bottom portion of my subject into the background. So you have something like this. Now we want to pick our move tool and we want to set this subject in the back. So to do that, you want to move your subject layer and drag it below the main subject. So now she is behind. We're going to pick our brush. We're going to repeat the same thing, the eraser, and we are going to erase a little bit of our subject like so. With my move tool, I'm going to scale her down a little and set her somewhere here. And I'm going to move this subject up, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to move her below the main subject so she's behind. We're going to scale her down a little, move her out like so. With my eraser tool, not my brush, I'm going to just do the same thing. So I sort of blend the bottom of her in to the background. So now that we have all three, I'm going to select them by holding down my shift, and I'm going to center them. I'm going to scale down a little and recenter. Now the next thing we want to do is that we want to blend in the bottom of our background just like we did with the subject. So we're going to pick our brush tool, and notice that the brush is not yet activated, but once you click on your image, it wants to convert it to a raster image. So you want to click OK, and now you can begin to brush and basically smoothing. You can make your brush a little bit bigger so you get a very good blend like so. Now that we have this all set, we want to go ahead and go back to our folder, and we want to bring in a few elements for the background. So I'm going to drop this balloon in. It doesn't have a background, and we're going to move this below our subject so we have it like this. I'm going to scale it a little bit more so we have this effect. Now I'm going to double click, and with my eraser, you want to click OK. We want to erase this area so we only have the balloons in the background. Now you can position them whichever way you want. We want to go back, and then we want to get this balloon as well, and we want to set that somewhere here. It has no background. We're going to rotate like so, and we're going to set it right there. I'm going to rotate a little bit more. I'm going to zoom out by holding down Option on the Mac, and I'm just going to scale a little bit more like that. So I'm going to go back to my folder, and I'm going to drag this in. Now this comes with a background, but we're going to use a quick select tool, select subject. It's going to select our balloon, and we are going to click on the Add Layer Max, and it's going to take off the background. With my move tool, I'm going to move this and set it right there, and I'm going to scale it like so. I'm going to just rotate a little like that, and I'm going to move this to the bottom so it's also behind. So it all depends on how many balloons you want. You can do more or less. That's all up to you. So now that we have this, we want to go ahead and type in happy birthday. So it's basically the CEO's birthday, and she's giving away 25% on all items on their website. So this is a flyer to that effect. So we are going to pick our text tool, and I'm going to go ahead and begin to type. I'm going to scale it down a little bit more. and set that right there. Now I want to bring in another image to infuse it onto my birthday. So we're going to go to our folder and we're going to drag this in and we're going to set it on top of our birthday, and we're going to hold down our option key and then clip in between the line of the image and the text, and it's infused to it. Now if you want your text a little bit bigger, click on that layer and you can basically scale it and it will still take the form of your image because your image is bigger than your text. Now, if your image sort of is smaller, in this case like this, all you need to do is just scale your image and make sure that your image size is beyond your text. So if you want to make a copy of your balloon, you want to click on that layer, Command J to make a copy. I can move another one and set it right there and do something like this. So I'm going to pick my type tool again and I'm going to type in happy. I'm going to highlight. It's not showing because it's in white. I'm using the font challenge and I'm going to go ahead and rescale. I'm going to set it right here like that. Now I'm going to highlight this font and I'm going to make it white, and then I'm going to double click on the layer to open up the layer style. Now I want to add an outer glow, so I'm going to click on that and I'm going to show you the effect. I'm going to double click so you see that I picked this color, which is 9CO236, and also the blend mode is pin light, opacity is at 49, and my noise is at 0. My spread is 0 and my size is 24, and my contour is linear. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to make a copy of the glow text, Command J. I'm going to pull that down and I'm going to type in to our CEO. I'm going to highlight and I'm going to change the font to Akumen, and I'm going to go to my property. Then I'm going to click on my double cup locks so it converts it into cups, and I'm going to scale it down and set it right there. Now the next thing we're going to do is that I want to go back to my folder and I still want to drag in a few more balloons. This one doesn't have any background. I'm going to set it right here and I'm going to rotate that and push that in like that. I'm going to go back to my folder and I'm going to drag in this cupcake, and with my remove background, I'm going to convert to layer and remove background. Now we lost a little bit of the sparkle on our cupcake, but that's okay. I'm going to set this right there like so. If you want to flip it, all you have to do is go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, so you have something like this. And I think it's coming together nicely. So we want to go ahead and add more information. So I'm going to pick my text tool and I'm going to make sure my foreground is black. I'm going to type in and then I'm going to scale it down with my move tool. I'm going to scale it down, set it right there, and I'm going to double click, select my foreground and pick this hot pink color or a deeper one like so, and I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go to my move tool. I'm going to go under my property and I want to open this up like that. Now I'm going to pick back my type tool. Then you want to make sure that you space out the wording. I'm going to highlight by double clicking. I'm going to change the font to bold, and I'm going to scale it a little, set that right there. And as you can see, I'm aligning everything. So you want to make sure that your things are aligned. If they don't snap, you just want to make sure you go under your view and turn on your snaps. So anytime you move something, it gives you a guide. So with this all set, we're going to make a duplicate Command J of this layer. I'm going to scale it down, double click. I'm going to type in. Now the next thing we're going to do is you want to pick up your shape tool, your rectangle, and you want to draw just a rectangle like this. You can gauge it with your eye. You want to go to your property, make sure your fill empty. So you want to make sure that you check this rectangle with the line, but for a stroke, we want to take it up, but we want to change the color to something different. So you want to pick your eyedropper, and then you want to pick anything within the color scheme that you're working with. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to make sure I make a copy of the take 20% off. Command J, make a copy. I'm going to go ahead and scale my shape a little. I'm going to hold down my shift so that I can get the scale that I want. And I'm going to move this and center it. Now that I have all of this set, I want to go ahead and use my marquee tool, rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to draw just a line, a rectangle on the bottom. I'm going to leave a space between my code and the bottom. And then I'm going to scroll down and click on my last subject image, and I'm going to click on add a new layer. I'm going to pull that below that, and I'm going to use my foreground. I'm going to click on that. The color picker comes up. Now I'm just going to pick any color within my color scheme. I'm going to click OK. With my bucket, I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to press Command D to deselect. Now I want to go ahead and type in the name of the website where they can get this. So I'm going to pick my type tool. Again, I'm using a V-Nair. So in case you want to use the same thing, and I'm going to go ahead and type in. And then I'm going to move that and set that here. I'm going to go ahead and rescale so it's big enough and bold for people to see. And I'm going to go ahead, double click, and maybe reduce the boldness to minimal, demi bold. And I'm going to just go ahead and reposition it right there. You can also even use white instead of the black. The white still pops. So I'm going to use the white. I'm going to double click and even make it medium so it's thin, but at the same time you can see it. So we're going to go to our folder, and I'm going to go and drag this image that we've already used. I'm going to set it right there, and I'm going to move that so it's beneath the bar that is on the bottom. With my eraser tool, you want to click OK to convert, and I'm going to erase some portion So we get almost like this effect, something like this. So now that we have this, we can move this down a little so it's not too much. And we want to have the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to make a copy, Command J, make a copy, move that over, and you can just go ahead and rotate, holding down your Shift, and you can drag it and set that in the corner. You can do something like this, rotate, but we want to go ahead and move that down so it's behind the balloons and not on top of the balloons. So we have this sort of effect. Now, the last thing we're going to do is that I want to add a bit of a shadow effect to my text. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on my text, click on drop shadow. I'm going to double click on my drop shadow. It gives me different options. I'm going to click and then change my color to black. Now, this is too much, so we're going to reduce our size, increase my distance a little, and do something like this, which is not too much. And if you want, you can click on the angle to change it for you. And I'm going to increase my size a little so I get this blur effect. And I'm going to click OK. So with all of this set, we can finish off our design by using the camera raw effect. So I'm going to click on my top image and I'm going to hold down Shift Option Command E. So that creates one file for you. And you can go up to your filter, camera raw, and you can maybe decrease your temperature a little. You can increase your contrast so it becomes more richer like this. And you can either play with your vibrance or saturation, but in this case, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to click OK, and this is it. So this is the before and this is the after. So again, depending on what you want, you might choose to go with this or that. I like both. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it was very fun. Please like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell for all future uploads. Until next time, please be safe and bye.